Rubber dog mask covered the cowering face of eagles. They could run, they could hide, they could even dress up like bobblehead seagulls. They could shriek, they could scream, they could howl and frown. But the Minnesota Vikings are coming to town. Simmers boys, Kendricks, Griffin, Joseph, and Smith are the season's guys the Eagles gotta go deal with. So here's the Bakes and CB to share some stats and stuff on why the conference champions are the Vikings. Yeehaw, showing up! Yeehaw!
Skol Vikings! Hey, everybody, welcome to the Viking Warmup. My name is The Bakes, and I am your host, and I am still alive. My heart is still pounding from last week's frickin' intense struggle versus the Saints. Right here with me is my co-host, CB. CB, are you still alive, man? No heart attacks, no panic attacks, no heebie-jeebies going on over there after the game?
I was in an oxygen tent until yesterday, but I feel a little bit better now. I lost my voice for the entire week. But like I said, I'm out of the ICU. I feel better now. My heart has started again, so I think I'm good.
Right on. Listen, as a segment, what we're going to do really quickly is we're going to move into a Philly work report. I have Saul Lefkowitz here. Saulie, what's the weather going to be like for the Vikings there in Philly?
Hey, listen, thanks for inviting me to your little program over here. That's really nice. Yeah, I appreciate it. But listen, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to handle it out here because it's getting chilly. It's getting really cold out here. I mean, like on Sunday. Okay, are you sitting down right now? Because
I'm sitting down, but hey, we're from Minnesota, man. It's freezing cold in Minnesota. It gets 40 below.
No, I see. I think there's a disconnect over here because I think you might be talking like that Celsius or whatever. But listen, it's going to be 51 degrees here on Sunday, okay?
Oh, boy.
That is super cold. That is very cold. We're going to have icicles dangling off parts of our body that you don't want to know about. It's going to be very, very cold, okay? As for the nighttime, once it gets to game time, it could be down to like 37 degrees, okay? If I'm not mistaken, that's about 20 degrees below freezing. They're going to be skating on a field. They're going to be, I don't even know. I think that's his level of hell is what it is. I think that's one of Dante's levels of hell is that particular freezing point. You kids from Minnesota, I don't know what you're going to do, but you better put your extra knickers on.
All right, I'll tell you what. We're going to bring it over there, Saulie. You just get those Philly cheesesteaks warmed up, all right? Thanks for the weather report.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
All right. Listen, we're going to shift just for a moment to a segment that I want to call A Voice from the Game.
And now 10 seconds remain in what could be a heartbreaking loss for the Vikings and a thrilling come-from-behind win for the Saints. Winner goes to Philly. 10 seconds to go. 24-23 Saints. Vikings at their own 39. It's third down. Three receivers right, Thielen left. Case on a deep drop. Steps up in the pocket. He'll fire to the right side.
All right. Well, listen, this is something really cool because what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in Drea Peterson. I actually went to college with. Drea, welcome.
Hello.
This is awesome. Drea went to the game, and we get to hear, for those of us that weren't there, what it was like to actually be there. So, Drea, just give me how did you get there? How did you actually get these tickets? That's probably the first step.
Right. My really good friend, her name's Kristen, and she and I have been schoolmates since kindergarten, and she is a huge Vikings fan, and she has season tickets. And the person sitting next to her is brand new grandma. She has 2 tickets available, and I pretty much begged her, please, 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 I will fly in. I live in Michigan now, but I'll fly in and we'll go see the game. She thought that was a great idea, so I called my mom. I said, hey, we're going to the game. There we go.
So you brought your mom too?
I did. I brought my mom.
And you said she's a longtime Viking fan.
She is a longtime Vikings fan. My dad used to do paper football league, so he used to do the fantasy football with all of his extra teachers, and she would be listening to football all the time. All the time,
yep.
So, but fantastic. Vikings is her team, man, so
awesome.
That's where we were. Yeah, we're on the Viking side in the third balcony up.
Nice.
And we got there plenty early, like an hour beforehand, and it was already electric. Everybody that you normally see. The guy with the horns and the breastplate, he's walking around. There's a girl there, I swear to God, she's got a purple bra and a loincloth and floppy shoes, and that's it. That's what she's wearing. Okay.
Right on.
They're all
Skull
kinds.
Nation, yeah. Cool. So the guy with the horns, you're probably talking about Sid Davies? Got the tattoo on the bicep? Yeah.
The guns, yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's actually on the VFL as well as they have another page and everything because he's part of that VWO, the Viking World Order. Tell me about the first half of the game. What was that like?
The first half of the game was incredible. We knew as the 12th man in the seat that we had a job to do, and that was to holler and scream and yell, and everybody was given a towel, and it said, bring it home, and we knew we had to scream as loud as we could and wave those towels around, anything to distract Drew so he wouldn't make a play, and we were doing a damn good job.
Right on.
By the end of the first half, I mean, we're sitting in our chairs and we're sweating. We're exhausted. It was a lot of work. The electricity just flew right up. And they had the decibel meter.
Yeah.
We had already gone up to 119.
Nice.
It was so loud. It was so loud and amazing. We were watching Drew Brees crumble before our very eyes. It was
Exactly. And halftime comes up.
And then halftime comes. Everybody just kind of settles down into their groove and we got to get some energy back. And second half, we think, okay, we're going to have the same great amount of energy. And then the third quarter happens.
Yep.
And suddenly there's that little voice in the back of your head going, oh, crap. This is the Vikings we're talking about. And then no place was comfortable. You couldn't stand. You couldn't sit. At one point, I thought I was going to throw up. It was heart attacks that were happening. I mean, people were just, what is going on?
And it's going back and forth then, right? I mean, the ball,
now
the
it's
score
going back
turned
and
over,
forth.
back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
And then when we had that 25 seconds left, there were naysayers around. There were people that were positive. I like to believe in the positive.
I'm sure a mix.
And I was one of those people in the positive, thinking, okay, you can do this, guys. You can do this. And I had this kind of smile on my face, thinking this can't be it. We can't do this again. And then we get the penalty.
Yep.
Wow. Oh, my
Punch
God.
in the gut.
And then we miss 2 more catches.
10 seconds left on the clock.
And my mom had checked out. She had completely checked out. She put her coat on. She was gathering up all the playbills around the area that were extra. Yeah. She was taking people's cups that they had left. She was ready to go home. She's going to gather everything she can that's purple. Everybody just kind of hovered. We're hovering and watching. And when he threw that ball, so I'm watching it arc over, and he catches it. And everybody in the entire stand are thinking, go out, go out.
Get out of bounds, yeah.
And he didn't fall. And, I mean, you've heard the sideline camera. Everybody's seen that video. And I said we went to 119 decibels for the first quarter. It had to have jumped well above that.
Sure, 200%.
Because we just exploded. As you can tell, I lost my voice. Yeah. I didn't give a damn anymore. Everybody screamed. And I turned over and I looked at my mom, and I will never forget the look on her face. Her eyes were so bright. Her face was in a state of shock, and she just lost it. All those pent-up years of emotion came out, and I hugged her, and she sobbed in my arms, and the people around were looking at this older woman that has just been crying, oh, they made it, it's okay, and these strangers come up to her, and they're giving her hugs, and everybody's high-fiving. It was insanity. It was amazing. And, so before the game, Stefan Diggs and Thielen and a bunch of other guys, they go to the other end of where he had that touchdown. They go to the other end of the field, and then they pray.
Yeah.
And Stefan Diggs has his corner. And so we watched him run out, and we just stood up and started screaming for the guy. And he goes all the way over to his corner, and he just drops. And you could see the media guys scrambling over each other trying to get the shot, of this guy.
Right.
And of course there's Case, and he's doing the skull chant. Nobody would leave. Nobody was leaving.
Absolutely astounding. You are a lucky girl going to that game. That is a legendary moment in Viking history. Yeah. Thanks again, Andrea. Yeah. It was good to spend some time with you.
You too, E.
All right.
Thanks.
Oh, Andrea, thank you so much. That is so cool.
That's what I'm talking about.
I can't even tell you. Everyone's going to remember this. Eric, everybody is going to remember where you were when the miracle happened. She was there. That is so cool. I was in my house. My wife had already given up. She was up in the kitchen. She was grousing. She was not happy. I stayed. I was praying to the football gods on the couch. And when the play happened, I stood up and I screamed so loud. I was screaming at the TV. My wife came flying into the living room. She was screaming with me. If somebody would have had the sound turned off in our house and you would have looked at us, you would have fitted us for straitjackets on that very second.
It was killer, man. It was amazing. Let's step into the Vikings at Philadelphia. Our Minnesota Vikings, our amazing, legendary Minnesota Vikings, will meet the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC Championship game on Sunday. The Eagles are a 3.5 underdog in their house, while the over and under, or the total number of points Vegas thinks will be scored, is 38.5. What do you think of them, CB?
I tell you what, I think that's very high on the points. If you ask me, it's going to go one of two ways. It's going to be a very tight, low-scoring defensive struggle, or the Vikes are going to blow them out. That's what I think. I don't think there's going to be any other way that it's going to go.
Yeah, a lot of people think this could be a 15-6 game or one of these low-level games. I'm hoping that's not the case because we need to get our scoring action going. You know what I'm saying?
Right on.
All right. So the Vikings won last week, and the Eagles did too. They beat the Falcons as an underdog there as well. But just because the Eagles come into this contest hot doesn't mean that they can beat our Vikings in the NFC Championship game or even stay within this spread.
Did you say championship game?
No, the sheep that's a thing they do in Ireland.
Oh,
that's
that one, right?
Yeah, it's a different.
Yes.
That's a different bit. I would say our Vikings have proven they can win and will win both defense and offense. So last week we beat the Saints for the second time this season in a game where our now legendary quarterback, and I don't care what anybody says, that was legendary, so he is legendary now. Case Keenum, he threw over 300 yards, as well as that one banging TD throw there in the last 10 seconds that we all love so much.
Absolutely. And I'm not worried about, we're going to get to this in a second, but I'm not that worried about our defense. But I'll talk about that in just a second.
Yep. The Vikings are number one in total defense themselves at 275.9 points a game, and number one in points allowed at a minuscule 15.8. So they also boast a top 10 offense that averages 23.9 points. And listen, dude, if you think back in week 15, in week 16, in week 17, our Zims Reapers held the Bengals, the Packers, and the Bears to a combined 17 points.
That's amazing when you think about it.
Knock me out, baby.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers wasn't there, but some of those teams are not slouches. They are very good teams, and they're all professionals, so you got to take your hats off to the D. They really brought it.
They really did. They did a good job. In the second half, maybe a little bit of slide. We're going to talk a little bit more about the keys to the win as we get forward. Let's talk about beating those damned Eagles and our next step toward our ultimate goal. So here we go. Keys to the win. Number one.
Grit my teeth whenever you say that.
The number one key to the win, Shermertown. It's no secret that Pat Shurmur called Philadelphia home for more than a decade. Shurmur started in Philly in 1999, and he was there in various positions, quarterback coach, all kinds of different positions through 2008. He did a second stint there starting in 2013, beginning as offensive coordinator, and he led an offense that set just a ton of team records. So Shurmur's always been touted as this player developer guy, and especially when you're talking about quarterbacks. He's like the young quarterback guru guy. None other than Nick Foles had a breakout year in his second year underneath of Shurmur. This team has not entirely changed since Shurmur left there in 2015, just 2 years ago. Shurmur knows not only the plays that the Eagles still run, but he intimately, well, not like sheep, but he intimately knows Foles. And that's going to be a tremendous help for Zimmer as he's planning the defense and preparing to unleash the Reapers. What do you think?
I love it. I think that's fantastic. I think it's not so much his knowledge of their offense, because that could change. But I think his knowledge of Foles' weaknesses is something that can really help the defense.
Absolutely.
The defense is going to be keying in on, does he move better to his right or to his left? Does he have problems throwing on the run? Does he like to sit back in the pocket? Does he like to step up? How often does he run? A lot of those things can be taken and used within a game plan.
Well, I know Zimmer and Shermer are not exactly swapping spit in the shower or anything, but you can be sure that they are talking into the wee hours of the morning about Foles' weakness.
Number 2 keys to the win is
The case for the Vikings offense.
That's right. The case for the Vikings offense, and I'm going to make that case right now.
Do it.
Here I go. That Vikings offense is going to destroy the Eagles defense. Now, I am not worried about Nick Foles and the Eagles offense versus our defense. Zim Tzu scheme.
Homage to Ted Glover. Bow to Ted Glover right there. Okay.
I'm going to sit on a pillow in the lotus position and pray to Zim
I have
Tzu.
one of the knives. I use it all the time.
Absolutely. It can cut through a tin can.
Mm-hmm.
The Vikings defense against the Eagles offense, not a big problem. They got a couple of backs that are okay. Alshon Jeffrey and Nelson Aguilar are, to me, second tier. They're not first tier. Julio Jones, they're not AJ Green. They're not Antonio Brown. They're not in that caliber. The part that I need to see is I need to see Case, and I need to see him integrate the backs into the passing game. I think we got away from that last week. We need to see Jet McKinnon running some wheel routes to try and get some more people into the pattern. They can bring it with their front line, but we have to get delays. If you have a delay where the tight end will block for a minute and then release out late, I think that's going to get them. I think
Absolutely.
running back.
And let me break in for a second. Not just a delay, but that option. I love the pass where you have that option and the quarterback rolls out. The tight end's either the blocker or he's going out for a pass. If you got one guy kind of isolated out there, one defender, man, that's a win every time.
Yeah. Yep, that's absolutely what we need to do. We need to get as many people into those pass patterns as possible. Their front four are very, very tough against the run. Run is going to be a tough sled during this game. I think there's going to be a portion where we're going to have to really rely on Kai Forbath, and I'll get to that in a little bit.
Okay. I would agree to that. And the number 3 key to the win: shut down Ajayi. Ajayi.
Sounds like Terry Lewis. Lady.
It's become pretty clear that the Eagles have been staying afloat in this post-Wentz portion of 2018 with their new formula of leaning on a solid defense and a ground game led by Jay Ajayi.
Lady.
So a key to stopping Jay this Sunday is going to be our Viking defenders getting that penetration on the Eagles offensive line. If Joseph and company can create some push up there, it's going to clog up those running lanes, right?
Big man, Linval got to eat.
He got to eat. Now, remember, heading into the Falcons game, the common thought was Peterson was going to rely more heavily on Jay Ajayi. And that's exactly what happened early in that Falcons game, despite the fact that J Train fumbled on his first carry after picking up a 6-yard gain. But after that fumble, he started to get a rhythm, man. If you were watching that game, he rushed 7 times for 44 yards, which was a 6.3-yard average, which is pretty screaming. And then he also caught a 10-yard reception. So right up until around 13 minutes remaining in the second quarter, he was cranking it. And then Peterson just took him out. And Jay didn't touch the ball again for the rest of the first half. The Eagles ran the ball 4 times until Ajayi actually got his next carry. They were all taken by Blunt, right? Blount, who scored a 1-yard touchdown run, but he only gained -3 yards on all 4 of those carries. Bizarre.
Yeah, Blunt is not a scary back.
Exactly.
Not a scary back. If you need 4 yards, he'll get you a half maybe.
Exactly. Stop Ajayi, and we stop the running game because Blunt is not a threat alone.
Agreed.
All right.
Agreed.
Number 4.
Special ed.
There you go. Take it.
Special ed. So, special teams are going to be a key factor in this game. Field position is going to be so key in this game. Quigley is going to have a great game. The game against New Orleans, he threw one into the end zone and he got one blocked. Okay?
Yep.
They have to shore that up.
Well, he kicked one into the end zone.
Yes, he kicked one into the end zone.
He doesn't throw a lot of balls.
For a net on that punt of 20 yards.
Right. He needs it. Quigley needs to get him down under.
Yeah, quickly down under. That's right. And he got one blocked. So those are the kind of mistakes that almost cost us against New Orleans and can absolutely cost us against Philadelphia.
Good point.
So Marcus has to have a great game. Mm-hmm. Kai Forbath has to have a great game because, like I told you earlier, this could either be a really tight defensive duel, which is what I'm leaning toward right now. Kai Forbath is going to have to be on his game. He's going to have to be able to hit everything that they put at him. If they put him out there at 53 yards, he's got to be able to knock it. He's got to be able to knock it down. If they flip the field on us, we could be in for a long day with that defense.
Absolutely. None of this nervous Nelly crapola. Kick the ball.
Oh.
Kai.
Just kick the ball.
All right. Number 5. That was a good one. Number 5. Let's call it turnover time. For this last one, let me give you a little defensive stats, and it's going to help support our strengths, and it's going to offer my case on turnover time. The total yards allowed per game, and I'm going to compare the Vikings and the Eagles. Total yards allowed per game. Vikings are first, 275. Eagles are fourth, 306. Yards allowed per play, Vikings are second, Eagles are ninth. Points per game allowed, Vikings are first, Eagles are fourth. First downs allowed per game, Vikings are second, Eagles are fifth. Third down percentage, Vikings are first, Eagles are third. Rushing yards allowed per game, Vikings are second, Eagles are first. It's the only place where they edge us, and
Really
it's not
close.
by much. It's only by a couple yards. Rushing yards allowed per play, Vikings are fifth, Eagles are sixth. Pass yards allowed per play, Vikings are first, Eagles are third. So those are all really, really close. There's one that makes a little bit of difference here. That's called takeaways. The Vikings defense is top 5 in almost every major statistical category. The Eagles cracked the top 5 in almost all of those also. One glaring statistic where the Vikings aren't particularly impressive is takeaways. On the season, the Vikings produced 19 turnovers, which is good for 23rd in the NFL. That ain't good. The Eagles produced 31. They're fourth in the NFL. And one turnover shy of averaging 2 per game. The Eagles also scored 6 defensive touchdowns during the regular season, and that's compared to the Vikings scoring how many? 1.
Yeah, just the one.
Okay, so the end result of all of that digging and all that stats and everything, and I hope it wasn't too much regurgitation, is one answer. The Vikings have to generate takeaways in this game.
And the other takeaway I get from that is that Case can't have any of those throws like he had, throwing off his back foot, trying to hit somebody on a Hail Mary.
That's a good point.
The throw to Diggs earlier where he got picked off by Marcus Williams, and the other one where he threw it up really high and Adam Thielen came down with it for the first down, looked good, but he was gambling.
Yeah.
And if he gambles here, it could cost him.
All right. So we're going to agree that we have to create more takeaways, and we have to limit the turnovers that we're going to give as well.
Amen, brother.
Okay, then. You know what? I'm out of booze. Thanks to all our listeners. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. CB, lead us out.
An eagle bird with little feet was sitting on my toilet seat. I pushed him in and flushed him down. I watched his feet go round and round. Hoorah!
Hoo-ah!
Bye.